Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that is very outside the normal, and that is when we see fractions within a decimal. As we know, we don't like to mix our modes, fractions inside of decimals or decimals inside of fractions, but there are some places where these fractions inside of decimals are starting to pop up. And one has been around for quite some time, even though we have pretty much overlooked it all of our lives, and that is when you're at the gas pump. If you look at the price of gas, and I haven't looked that closely lately, but we used to be seeing something, let's say $2.08, and then there would be this little 9/10 thing written off in the side or maybe in the margin, or maybe now it's not even shown there anymore. And people were like, well, what in the world is that? Well, first of all, how this would be read, if you can remember, we talk about the decimal point being the word and. We're also going to actually see the word and pop up twice, because there's going to be an and here as well. So if we're writing this one or reading this one in words, and I'll write it down, this would be the word to, and then we would have this 8 and 9, whoops, I better write that out, 9/10, and this would then be read as hundredths. Kind of lost my space there. Sorry about the mess. Hopefully you can overlook that. So, we have this 8 and 9/10. So if you think about it, it kind of is like, well, we've got tenths inside of hundredths. What in the world? I like to think of this as just a fancy way of writing the digit that would come next. Because if you just look at this piece, 8 and 9/10, we could write 8 and 9/10 as an 8.9. So I have 8 and 9/10 hundredths, which means I really have this 2.089. So here's this 8 and 9, or 8.9 hundredths, or 89 thousandths if you want to think of it that way. It's kind of a weird thing. So if you think of it, 8 and 9/10 hundredths would be written this way. We don't like mixing modes, so we can multiply both top and bottom by 10. And we would see that this is really 89 thousandths. So another way to look at those numbers. Okay. Another place this is starting to show up is in the stock market. When we start talking about how things have risen or dropped, they might have gone up 8 3/4 cents, which if you think of it as 8 3/4 cents, it makes sense. That's kind of funny. But if you write it in terms of a decimal, so 8 3/4 cents. In terms of the dollar, it would be written as 0.0834. Now we have no problem thinking this as, this is 8.75 cents, putting the cents mark on there. So turning this into this form in terms of a dollar makes it like strange. But if we write it in the decimal, throwing some more decimals in there, we'd have something that looks like this. Hopefully going through these examples will make this strange concept a little bit more understandable. All right, let's do another one. Let's say I have this 0.825, and let's go an eighth. So again, thinking of this, and I can't come up with an example because this is not in terms of money, but hopefully the money one kind of helps solidify things for us. So now this is just a fancy way of writing those next digits. Now 1/8 is that 0.125. Now this does not mean we're going to put 0.125 in here, but this is just saying we're going to have the 125 coming after this 5. So we will see something that looks like that. I do really like this 8 3/4 cents increase or 8 3/4 cents decrease, which we see when we're talking about the stock market or the corn and soybean markets and things of that. They always talk about how things raise and fall. And they do like to use fractional parts of cents. I'm not exactly sure why they do that, but they do. So if we have something that's going to fall 12 and a quarter points, or 12 and a quarter cents. So if I put my cent sign there, this would be 12.25 cents. That is understandable to most of us, but then if we change it into the dollar symbol, if I write it this way, it's 0.12 and a quarter. If I want to write it complete decimals, which would be more understandable than mixing modes, it would be 0.1225. I'm hoping these few examples helped make this concept, this crazy concept, a little bit more understandable.